Welcome to another Where We've Cary, where today, we're going to be doing an episode I'm going to call Criticizing the Critical Drinker While Drinking. Just had some Bud Light Lime Rita. Haven't had that in a while. Pretty good. And this is, my food bar phone will stop being blurry. This is recent critical drinker, as I like to call him, critical stinker. Video called Why Modern Movies Suck. The myth of modern audiences. Now, I've already watched this, spoilers. Not because I wanted to, I just wanted to know what I was getting into here. Because I had this plan. And so, it's kind of like weird that he doesn't even seem to know what a modern movie constitutes. Because as you'll see, he has clips that represent the movies that he, I guess, thinks are good. And they're from like 7 years ago or so. I think the most recent one was like Whiplash. And when did that come out? Pretty sure like 2015, right? So, I don't even think the critical stinker even knows what he means when he says modern movie. That's kind of interesting. Anyway, 1 million people watched this video. Wow. And I don't think all of them were people like me who just wanted to watch it to see what we're going to roast. But anyway, let's see the critical drinker. And spoiler alert, he's going to say some dumb, wrong shit and use a dead meme. A 6-year-old dead meme at this point. Many times throughout the video. This is going to be interesting. Let's see what I have to say. Oh, and of course we have a fucking ad first. Okay, here we go.
Modern audiences. If ever there was a red flag for another incoming tidal wave of steaming hot post-Vindaloo diarrhea, it would have to be the sentence, updated for modern audiences.
I haven't heard that sentence very much, to be honest. Except like as a joke on Family Guy and The Simpsons, so I don't really know what he's still going for already.
It seems like every single puff piece article, awkward promotional tour, tedious interview, and shill media review these days takes a perverse delight in announcing that yet another story has been updated for modern audiences.
And let's take a drink every time he uses that lady screaming about Trump. She was completely right about right away. Trump literally being a fascist shit. He's Scottish. Why does he even use that fucking meme? It means nothing to you. It's not even your culture, dude. Drink number 1. We'll be drinking a lot here. Trust me, we'll be seeing a meme a lot. Oh, so we got... Sorry, my food bar fellow is getting very blurry. Toy Story 2.
It's become just another expected buzzword for basically every new project now, along with other classics like diverse casting, strong female characters, toxic online trolls, and my personal favourite, reflecting the world we live in today. It's meant to be seen as another step towards some undefined, unreachable, but eternally optimistic utopia.
Does he think Terminator and Terminator 2 aren't reflecting the world as we live in today? Like, he used book clips from both of those movies. And like, James Cameron will be the first to tell you what he was trying to accomplish with Terminator 2 was basically the idea that humans are becoming more animalistic, more robotic, and losing their humanity, and that basically the world is fucked. And it just seems weird that that's a weird place to go. And I mean, it could even go deeper in some of these cuts, but these are just two that pop off in my head right now. It just seems like a weird stance to take. Also, what was the thing he said? Toxic online trolls. Well, the thing with that drinker, as you can see there in his crumpulence drinking, in his little description, PFP picture there, is there are toxic online trolls. There are plenty of them. We've seen it recently, not with a movie, but with a TV show, where in Obi-Wan they were going out of their way to be racist to a black actress. For basically the only reason because she's in Star Wars. And it's not like this is the first time it's happened, oh, critical stinker. Because I don't know how you consider modern if you think 1999 is modern enough for you. But this is back when people would bully Jake Lloyd, who played Anakin Skywalker in Episode 1, to the point that he had to drop out of school and have serious emotional problems. So these toxic trolls you're talking about are not a symptom of modern times necessarily. They've been around. They're just more loud, vocal, and stupid today. And they have more people like you, critical drinker, who like to put your fingers in your ears and go la 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 and pretend that's not a thing that exists. It's just people overreacting. But I digress. Let's get back to the crappy video.
For us in some hypothetical future time that we'll never see. Another uncomfortable mistake of the past corrected. Another bastion of the old, bigoted, oppressive world toppled. Another victory in the never-ending war against our own cultural legacy.
He says another bigoted, oppressive toppled, and he shows a clip from Star Wars, a movie literally about toppling oppressive, bigoted empires. Does he hear it? Does he even understand what he's talking about sometimes? Is he just too drunk to realize? Maybe I should let this video play a little more than 1 minute.
It sounds pretty nice, doesn't it? We love updating things these days. We love stuff that's modern. After all, who wants to cling to old, dusty, outdated ideas when we can have shiny...
Sorry, but in addition to the fact that Dodgeball came out in 2004, so I don't know if that counts as modern or not. That's less than 20 years, so it seems pretty damn modern to me. But I'm an old fart, so maybe I'm thinking about this too much. But does anybody even talk about Dodgeball? Like, he's putting this as like a movie. As far as like these are the movies that are supposed to be like the good old movies. Like, do people? I like Dodgeball, but like, do people see it as that big a deal? Like, Zoolander gets more love than Dodgeball. It made money, sure, but like a lot of movies made money back then. I don't see it being like highly praised. No one's going out of their way to go, oh, Dodgeball. Remember that classic comedy Dodgeball? You know what I'm saying?
New, modern stuff.
Just saying.
Because everything that's new and updated must be good, right?
Armageddon?
Everything produced today must be better than what came yesterday. Because
Sorry, even Armageddon, I thought is pretty much like hated by a huge chunk of people. Am I wrong in that? It has an opinion that Armageddon. I liked Armageddon when I saw it. And I was like 10. I haven't really watched it since. I've been meaning to, but I never really got around to it. But it seems okay. But like, I always thought that movie was hated. I'm confused here.
Be making stuff that's worse. The reality here is that the myth of the modern audience is one of the biggest cases of collective gaslighting I think I've ever seen, and it's been used to justify some of the worst excesses.
Oh, you mean like Make America Great Again? That's a pretty big example of community gaslighting. Or what's another one? Oh, the movement that's trying to criminalize homosexuality or trying to take away trans rights. Those are pretty big gaslightings, spreading all kinds of hateful lies. Oh, and how about this one? Blue Lives Matter. There's a big gaslighting movement for you.
These are franchise destruction and all of entertainment.
Blue Lives Matter. Fuck Blue Lives Matter.
Repeated again and again, like it's some badge of honor instead of the dunce's cap of shittiness. The message is always the same, like everyone's saying it is part of some weird collective hive mind capable only of repeating the same basic concepts and phrases. The world is changing. People are different now, and they don't like the things they used to like. They don't want escapism and innocent, joyful entertainment for its own sake. They want stories and characters that reflect the world we live in today. They don't...
He just showed Django. That movie came out in like 2016, maybe a little before that, maybe 2014. It's still pretty damn recent. It's in the last decade at least. And also, you're going on here talking about escapism and all this, like... You do realize Django is a very politically charged movie. It's about a former slave killing slave owners left and right, and it's fucking awesome. But like to pretend that's not a movie that has a message is you must be insane not to realize that. And the message is pretty clear: fuck slave owners, fuck racists, fuck anybody who associates with them too. That's the message. And it's a wonderful message. He talks about the message. This man talks about the message so much, but I never said what the message is, and then he seems to miss clear messages in the movies he's showing.
But want thoughtful and balanced explorations of complex ideas. They want to be told exactly how to think on every issue, and always from one particular point of view. Because clearly we all hold the same opinions about everything. They don't want men that are strong, capable, and assertive, or women that are...
Hold on. They don't want strong men that are strong, capable, and assertive. Hold on a minute. Bro, you just described every fucking movie The Rock has ever made. Like, literally. I've watched, like, nearly most of The Rock movies, including Black Adam just last week. And he pretty much plays the same character. And they're always men that are strong and assertive. What are you even talking about? And masculine. Oh, because that's important, right? Like, it's the fucking Rock. The guy who was a WWE World Champion 7 times, who came back to wrestling and beat John Cena's monkey ass just because he could. The guy who literally has made all kinds of different movies, including one where he played a Tooth Fairy. And still, I've made plenty of movies where he's this ultra masculine hero, right? So already you're wrong. And I could go deeper than that. Like, what's another one? Think of another good example. I mean, shit, like, I'd say the superhero movies are pretty good examples of best of the heroes. Like, Henry Cavill, Superman's pretty up there, but, you know, he probably would hate that because he just would. But anyway, let's get back to the video. That was a long day. Let's see what he has to say about female characters now. I get a feeling another drink is coming.
Feminine, compassionate, and protective, they want their characters deconstructed,
Feminine,
conflicted, and
compassionate, and
homogenized.
protective.
They don't want historical accuracy.
Now,
They
he shows Ray, who he doesn't think is feminine, compassionate, and protective. Okay, I do not like Ray as a character, because she's way overpowered. And I find her really annoying at times, but from what I've seen of the character, I've seen the first 2 movies of that trilogy, she's very protective. She's trying her best to actually help the rebels, and compassionate. She, even though I hate those scenes, when she was reaching out to Kylo Ren, she was at least trying to sort of kind of maybe sway him back to the good guys. Although after he killed his dad, I think that was pretty much impossible. But she was trying to do that. And as far as feminine, yeah, she's pretty damn feminine. I don't even get what he means by feminine. Like, what does he expect these women to be walking around in flowing dresses all the time? Like, what exactly is his point? Like, what does he consider not feminine? Like, I don't know, I'm just saying, I don't really get this dude's whole gripe at all, first of all. But anyway.
want modern values, cultural norms, and metropolitan diversity superimposed onto times and places where it makes
Cultural
no logical
norms?
sense. Because the past doesn't matter, you see. The past is full of ists and phobes and dangerous ideas that we have to carefully shield you from.
Nobody's saying that but you, stinker.
And form opinions that we don't
Of course he
like.
used Johnny Depp for that.
All that matters is what we tell you. And the more this shit happens,
Who's
the
we?
more I'm reminded of an interesting little quote from our not too distant history. If you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to...
So this quote from a Nazi propaganda guy, Nazi propaganda man, Joseph Goebbels. Yeah, I looked this up. This quote was never said by him. There's no one that can attribute it to him. So already the drinker in his video, not even 5 minutes in, he's already just spreading a big lie. Ironically, if you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people eventually come to believe it. I know we're only 3 minutes in. I don't want to take too long. It is. I can only record like 20 anyway, so trying to speed up. But like, so what we have here is him saying that the past is bad and everything is bad and everybody it's full of ist and phobes and whatnot, and it's like he's saying, and we don't like that, and we have a message. Again, who is saying this shit other than him? And also, who is we? Because right now, we would seem to be him and his little chud patrol, if you ask me. But like, who's the fucking we? And okay, let me play devil's advocate a little. The past is full of foes, racist, whatnot, and shit he's saying. The fact of the matter is, that's true to some extent. John Wayne, huge fucking racist, huge homophobe, huge sexist. Doesn't mean that I or a lot of people don't want his movies to be shown or something. If you want to show his movies, that's fine. But don't deny the fact that he was a huge piece of shit in real life. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. That should be acknowledged too. It shouldn't just be like, oh, well, yeah, if you just want to watch the movie and enjoy the movie, I can understand that. But don't try to silence people going, oh, well, you know, there's somebody like says like John Wayne was a real American hero. Like, no, fuck John Wayne. He's a piece of shit. He made some movies. I'm not into westerns, but see, people didn't like the movies, whatever. Fine, but he's still a piece of shit. See what I'm saying? Acknowledge. It's important to acknowledge shit like that.
The drinker doesn't believe it, and I'm here to take a big
You're the one that's saying it.
on the myth of the modern audience. And to do this, let's begin with the world of fairy.
By the way, Lost in Translation, the movie just showed. I watched that one time. I did not like that at all. I thought it really sucks. If you like it, that's good, but it definitely was not my cup of tea. I don't get why people like lord that over such a huge good movie, in my opinion.
One of the most quintessential forms of storytelling, and one that's been fertile ground for companies like Disney for the better part of a century now. Everything from Pinocchio to Mulan to Aladdin and Cinderella have been turned into animated movies over the years, enthralling and inspiring whole generations of kids. But with the advent of the modern era comes a chance to remake films like this for modern audiences, correcting them to make sure they don't conflict with the things we want you to think now. I've already covered films like Mulan, Beauty and the Beast.
From what I can tell of Mulan, the only stupid thing is that they gave her superpowers and took Mushu away. And that's dumb. I don't like that. But other than that, like, what exactly was the message of modern audiences? It's the same fucking movie. Everywhere I've seen it, it's just the same movie. It's just worse. And Beauty and the Beast is literally the same movie. There's no message there. Unless you disagree with the message of the original movie, the message is still the fucking same. Like, literally, it's like a shot-for-shot remake of that movie. But the only thing is that it has, like, terrible CGI, and you get human actors. And it's okay, but I prefer the animated original. But, like, yeah, it's not different.
and the upcoming Little Mermaid in a previous video, but I think there's an even better example on the way.
Oh, you mean the Little Mermaid where y'all were fucking racist about her? Yeah, funny how you mentioned toxic trolls
The
earlier.
remake of Snow White, released way back in 1937, the true OG of Disney fairy tale movies that basically paved the way for everything that followed it. A timeless story of adventure, friendship, and true love that went on to become an enduring classic. So it was only natural that modern Disney would produce a cash grab remake at some point, and of course, it had to be altered to appeal to modern audiences.
There we go again. Once again, he brought it again. He took longer than I thought he would, so give him that much credit. Oh, I may get sponsored by Bud Light Lime Rita, but I doubt it.
The character from a 19th century German fairy tale, who's literally named Snow White due to her skin being white as snow, is now being played by Colombian actress Rachel Zegler.
Oh my god. Oh my god, Drinker. If you're gonna play the J. Jonah Jameson clip, it's a really good fucking clip. Don't fucking do that weird shit you just did. Or make it sound like you're grinding something in my ears, man. Fuck off with that. Just put the booze bottle down, man. Just play the clip in full, you asshole.
I'm not sure, yeah. It makes sense to me. I guess
Why do you have a problem with a Colombian actress playing Snow White, you fucking idiots? Who gives a shit? Like, God, man. Like, don't act like you give a shit about Snow White, Drinker, Stinker. Because, look, there's been 2 Snow White live-action adaptations in the last 20 years. And I bet you don't give a shit about anyone else. One was on Once Upon a Time, where she was played by Jennifer Goodwin. And that's a different version of the story, because, like, all the fairy tale characters are asleep, and they have to get woken up, yada, yada, yada. And the other was the movie, what's it called? Snow White and the Huntsman, where she was played by Kristen Stewart. And you do not give a shit about those movies, so don't pretend like you give a shit about this live-action Snow White movie. Why do you care? Why you don't care?
The idea of a female lead with low levels of melanin is so offensive to modern audiences that she had to be replaced with a more diverse alternative.
Or maybe they just thought the actress was good, you dumb dipshit. Goddamn, why do you fucking care? You get like hundreds of white actresses in hundreds of movies, or like 99 white actresses in 100 movies. 99 actresses will be white women, but have a woman that's not white in one, and this dude's about to shit a brick.
In order to keep everyone safe.
God, dude, again with this shit? He really just loves that shitty meme. I wish he could sue the shit out of every fucking shitty person that uses that meme, because there's so many shitty people who do.
The dwarves that were used for comedy effect in the original have been reworked into highly efficient, intelligent, and disciplined underground engineers. Why? Because apparently we can't depict little people on screen in a way that could be even vaguely...
The dwarves in the book were not even referred to as small, you dumbass. They literally were everything. Hell, there's a story I have of Snow White where they're actually rock and then they turn human after a while. They don't even remember being rock. And Once Upon a Time, I don't remember the exact thing, but I'm pretty sure they were pretty capable there too. They weren't treated as just comic relief.
Interpreted as negative.
This dude is getting so much shit wrong.
The Dashing Prince saving the day and reviving Snow White from her eternal sleep with a true love's kiss has been axed too, naturally, because the notion of a strong, heroic man saving the princess from danger is just too triggering for modern audiences.
Oh my god, 3 times in like a minute. Get a new meme, you bitch. Fuck's sake, man.
This princess is going to damn well save herself, and the rest of the world just needs to...
Okay. The True Love's first kiss thing has literally been done twice differently in the last decade. Maybe more like 15 years, whatever. In Maleficent, it was done with Maleficent kissing Aurora when she was asleep on the cheek to wake her up because of maternal love. It was done with maternal love in Once Upon a Time. A pretty good show from when I watched it, but it did kind of lose its way after like season 4, I think. But anyway, so in that one, it was the same thing, except it was the character of Emma kissing her son on the cheek, Henry. And in this case, it was his adopted mother, who was actually the evil queen, but she was named Regina here, who went to give the cursed apple pie to Emma because she didn't like Emma. Because Emma was... What was she, the daughter of? Snow? Oh yeah, she was the daughter of Snow White and Prince Charming, if I remember correctly. Alright. So it's been done before. This is not the first time this is done. So him just bitching about it is stupid. It's literally happened twice before.
deal with that. In fact, I think Rachel Zegler summed up their mentality perfectly in this article from Vanity Fair. People are making these jokes about ours being the PC Snow White, where it's like, yeah, it is, because it needed that. It's an 85-year-old cartoon, and our version is a refreshing story about a young woman who has a function beyond someday my prince will come.
He's getting used to it again.
Right? Imagine doing a faithful adaptation of a classic story. Basically what you're getting here is a completely different...
If they did a faithful adaptation of a classic story, they probably would just make it exactly the same as Beauty and the Beast, and you still would shit on it because it's not as good as the original, which is not going to be. But there's no winning with you, dude. Don't even pretend like you wouldn't care. Also, what's wrong with changing an 85-year-old story? And don't pretend like Disney made these stories exactly anyway. They changed the fuck out of them. They've done all kinds of changes to these stories when they originally adapted them. It's not like they just said, oh, we're going to copy this word for word. Hell, every comic book movie basically changed the story pretty different from what it was. Sometimes for the good, sometimes for the worse. It's ridiculous to sit here and bitch about another change to a movie that was already changed.
Movie with a familiar name attached to it, which begs the obvious question, if you hate the source material so
Snow White and the Huntsman literally did exactly that, and so did Once Upon a Time. Why don't you go bitch about those? Oh, I know, because there's white people attached to that, right? White people are playing Snow White, so you don't care.
Much
Showing your card there, Stinker, a little much?
To your modern sensibilities, then why even bother remaking it? Why not just come up with something new? Oh yeah, of course. But hey,
yeah,
that's
money
just
makes the world go round.
What about the world of TV? I mean, I could talk about the disastrous failures of modern reinterpretations of classic stories like The Wheel of Time or Resident Evil.
I know nothing
Watchmen,
about those.
Or Cowboy Bebop.
I know nothing.
Why bother when we've got the Rings of Power?
Okay, I'm gonna skip the Rings of Power because I haven't watched it, but there's the meme again. And I don't know if I am going to watch it.
Now. Well, unless it happens in a place that begins with W and ends in Akanda, in which case it's just the best thing ever. Because logical consistency apparently isn't a big priority for modern audiences.
4 times, bitch.
So you needed diversity, and lots of it. Did that mean exploring different cultures and locations to expand the scope of Middle-earth in exciting new ways? Nah, what it meant was drop a bunch of diverse actors into the story at random points with no explanation, and pretend that it makes total sense and has always been that way. Genius!
Man, what the fuck was that?
The new men for modern audiences, let's make sure that we crowbar them.
That's a very fucked up statement from a very fucked up person that I could look into, but whatever, fuck him.
Leadership role and position of authority that we can possibly get away with. Oh yeah, and they're also warriors now who can...
Hold on. Just hold on a minute. Let me get... Yeah. Sorry, wait, this is not the right one. My bad. Excuse me. Return of the King, Stinker. A movie that came out 20 years ago. And guess what one part of this movie is? A female warrior beating a male warrior after he says, no man can beat me. And she says, luckily I'm not a man. There's been female warriors that are better than male warriors since they've been making these things. Since the fucking books. You stupid idiot. But that's all I want to say about that.
Because I guess medieval armies...
He was also twice her size, you jabroni.
And naturally, the men are conveniently moved aside to make way.
Okay, I don't care about him shitting on this anymore.
And don't worry, I'm going to do a proper in-depth video.
I don't care.
Soon enough. Believe that. But as a little
You've been warned.
For the purposes of this video, let's take a look at James Bond. Surely the absolute pinnacle of everything that is, was, or ever will be a man. Tough. Cold, ruthless, charming, sophisticated and dangerous, a man of action and intrigue, a man that every woman wants but none can ever truly have. Well, not anymore, because modern audiences don't want to see strong, capable, confident, assertive men.
Okay, before he goes on this weird rant about Daniel Craig, I'm just going to ask, and I say this as somebody who grew up in the 90s and was aware of James Bond, but like, was James Bond really that popular by the 90s? Because I don't remember kids ever talking about James Bond. None of my friends did. None of the people that were talking in the lunchroom were talking about James Bond. Nobody was like, hey, let's go see, like, The World Is Not Enough, or, oh man, did you check out Die Another Day? The only James Bond thing I remember from when I was growing up was, like, about GoldenEye, the game, for the N64. That, yeah, but the movie, not so much. So, it's weird to hear him put up James Bond, like, to me, I don't know how old Drinker is, but I assume he's pretty close to my age. But he grew up in Scotland, so maybe it's different. I don't know. But to me, like, here in America, like, the movies weren't that big. after like the 80s, seemingly to me. And so it's like kind of was not a dead franchise, but kind of a dormant one. So, just kind of a little fault I had there, Dad.
Green, because that would perpetuate the harmful stereotype that men should aspire to be strong, capable, confident, and assertive. Instead, what modern audiences want in their men is emotion, vulnerability, and respectfulness. Can't have them come across as too threatening or dangerous. I mean, Daniel Craig already started the trend by having Bond pout and sulk his way through most of his films.
Okay, now here's some story time. The only Bond movie, I'll take another drink because I haven't drank in a while, and he hasn't put them in a while, so. The only James Bond movie I've seen has been Skyfall with Daniel Craig. In that movie, he's pretty much an emotionless, almost robotic figure. Spoilers, I guess, if you haven't seen Skyfall or if you want to see it. So, at the beginning of the movie, he's believed to be dead. He gets shot off a train, and he comes back to life, and it's eventually revealed that he didn't pass his physical to return to be an agent in the MI6. And so, he got lied to by his, I forgot her name, but the one who runs the MI6. And so he's going for them, like physically he's kind of falling apart, but he's still doing a pretty good job, like killing people and kicking ass, what I remember. And basically the thing is that, yeah, throughout the whole movie, he's not really showing much emotion. Even at one point, he gets asked why he didn't just stay dead. He had a way out, and he just kind of like responds with something like, "Because this is who I am," or something like. He doesn't really like. There's barely a Bond girl in that movie. She gets shot pretty fast, and like right in front of him, he doesn't really show emotion. So him saying this is just weird because this is the only Bond movie I've seen had Daniel Craig, and he was pretty much emotionless till almost the end of the movie, and then he only really was like sad a little bit because the woman that mentored him died in front of him. That seems like a pretty reasonable time to show emotion.
Because, being a suave, gun-toting super spy is just such a drag. But don't worry, his successor will absolutely carry on his work. In a recent interview with Variety magazine, that bastion of impartial journalistic integrity,
Fuck's sake, stop reading the meme.
locally explained that Bond is evolving just as men are evolving. I don't know who's evolving at a faster pace. She went on to add that Craig's Bond cracked the character open emotionally. The films over his tenure were the first time we really connected to the emotional arc.
And the thing is that those movies started coming in 06, and like I think the first Bond was like 61. So you're talking about a 40 plus year span where essentially they're making the same movies. From my perspective at least, they look like kind of the same movies. So what was wrong with doing something different? I really don't get the issue here. Because the one I saw, he was still kicking a lot of ass, taking a lot of names, doing spy shit, had a good car, went after the bad guy, and was pretty stoic and emotionless. Which maybe he shouldn't have been that stoic, but whatever. I mean, it was fine. It was okay.
Well, here's the problem, Barb. Bond
Please tell us the
popular
problem,
character
stinker.
For decades precisely because he didn't evolve. Yeah, different actors brought slightly different interpretations of the character, either because of their acting styles or personalities, but Bond's core traits didn't change. Why? Because they didn't fucking need to. James Bond represents the ultimate masculine.
What are his core traits? That he's British and a spy? Also, weren't some of these movies like treated like the actors were very bad and people didn't like them and really didn't want to see them playing in the roles? Like Timothy Dalton was like pretty lambasted. I know Roger Moore, I think, is pretty. People are okay with Roger Moore, but I think he kind of did get some shit over that. From what I remember, maybe I'm misremembering. I don't know. But it seems a little like a stretch to say all these movies are so beloved and the actors added their own flair. It's like, no, some of y'all hated the actors. I've seen enough people talk. I've seen enough like videos people talking about it. Like even in Buffy, there's references to like them not liking Timothy Dalton and shit like that.
And that ideal hasn't changed, no matter how much people might want it to. Putting some androgynous pop star into a dress isn't redefining masculinity any more than me down in a pint of vodka is redefining sobriety. It's trying to
see that joke doesn't even work. Harry Styles isn't even in the fucking Bond movies, stinker. Why are you bringing him up? And second of all, what do you care if he wants to wear a dress? Why isn't it redefining marriage? You drinking the vodka isn't redefining sobriety. That's true, but that's not a joke. He is redefining male stereotypes because he's wearing a dress. What's wrong with that? And he's a straight dude wearing a dress.
Place one thing with another, but
and it's not like Bond wore a dress anyway. So what even is his fucking point?
To believing that it's always been that way. Remember, if you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it.
This motherfucker just used a Nazi propaganda quote to describe modern Bond movies. Let that sink in for a minute. Oh boy.
The point I'm Bond's unique combination of intellect, physical power, and emotional distance is what makes him so compelling.
And in the movie I watched, he was emotionally distant, he was intellectual, and he had strong power. You fucking moron. So your point already doesn't stand, man.
To alter that combination undermines the very foundations of who he is. Just like the reimagined Snow White, you're altering such fundamental elements of who that person is that you're basically creating a whole new character with the same name. That's not modernization, that's bastardization. But it's not just movies and TV shows that are getting updated for modern audiences. Video games were basically the testbed for this shit 10 years ago. I've already spoken in another video about the ham-fisted attempts to modernize Lara Croft, which turned an awesome, empowered and ass-kicking adventurer into a boring, whiny, guilt-ridden, overly emotional child with daddy issues. They took a
She literally kills a whole group of people, you fucking idiots. How much more empowered you were to be by herself, when she doesn't even have that much training, and she's basically all alone on an island trying to survive. What a complete asshat. Also, let's not forget, Lara Croft has been through 2 different reboots. One happened in the mid-2000s with Lara Croft, Tomb Raider Legends, right? And they had like another Tomb Raider game after that. And then there's this one. So it's not like this is the first time they reimagined her.
classic archetype that everyone admired and tried to break her down into something more grounded, more relatable, more acceptable to modern audiences. And well, all they really did was break her. But hey, you'll be pleased to know that Grand Theft Auto...
They literally had a whole trilogy of games with that character. I don't think they broke her, you moron.
Auto is finally getting the same treatment. According to this article from the New York Post, the game is going to feature a female protagonist for the first time and tone down the racist and sexist humor that's been prevalent in the series until now. Because, you know, when you're busy hijacking cars, burning down buildings, shooting police officers and murdering innocent civilians like it's the summer of 2020, the last thing you want to...
That's not what happened in summer of 2020, you fucking lying idiot. Stop trying to be Joseph Goebbels, except Scottish.
Counter is offensive humour. Jesus Christ, talk about not understanding your audience. The GTA series was practically founded on violence, criminal behaviour, and irreverent humour. It's the very...
Yeah, it's been found. This is ridiculous. Yeah, it's found in irreverent humor. But most of the humor you're talking about happens in cutscenes like right there with Trevor and Michael. The jokes aren't predicated on racism or sexism. They're predicated on Trevor being a psychotic guy who doesn't give a fuck, and Michael being a sellout that basically hates his life. And yeah, there are racist, sexist jokes, but like, don't tell me you're putting in the radio, listening to all the fucking radio shows. Yeah, they exist. I listen to Fast City, I love them. But I know not everybody does that. They just go to the music. So this dude, like, literally so stupid. Like, this is even a thing people really care about. Like, are you really going to tell me they're going to miss hearing... I can't even think of a racist or sexist joke that was that big in these games, other than, like, there was jokes about like, Rambo-like characters, stuff like that. There was jokes about, like, oh, yeah, there was a racist senator in Vice City who went on the radio and talked about banning all the foreigners out of Florida, and he meant, like, anybody, even other American citizens. And it's pretty funny, because, like, taking the racist, illegal immigration assholes, immigration assholes to the next level, like being shitheads, like that shit was funny. But at that point, the joke was him. The joke was the guy. Well, there probably are a lot of people that didn't even listen to the radio show. I'm just saying. Anyway, I think I'm done with the stinker. If they have criticized him enough, he sucks. I'm gonna get drunk more. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Modern movies don't suck. Some of them do, but some of them are good. And they're not for the reasons this dude said. He's just bad and molding. He doesn't even seem to understand James Bond. So, alright then. Thank you for watching.